Hi, I'm Mike. That's a little crap. And this is Our Wyoming Life.
Never down.
Hi there, welcome back. Thanks for joining us as we continue to explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary. This year, I want an uneventful calving season. I want every single calf to live, and we're only a few weeks away from the beginning of cows starting to have their calves. Oddly enough, a few years ago, I wouldn't have ever pictured this for myself. I was probably just like you, hanging out in a cubicle or an office and just waiting for my day to end so I could go home and watch a movie. Now, I'm out here worried about crap in a field. And to be perfectly honest, I probably would have asked myself back then, why do you even care about crap in a field? Well, it's kind of a big deal because with calving season just around the corner, this poop and everything else that's scattered around where the cows have been eating all winter long is now thawed. We've had a few nice days of weather, up in the 60s actually, and what that's going to allow us to do is get out here and do some work on this. The problem is that we're expecting 5 inches of snow coming up over the next couple days. Actually, I think it's 5 inches one day and 2 inches the next day. So we have probably a pretty limited window in order to get this done, and we might as well get started on it right now. You see, because of this small window, obviously it's going to freeze down again, but the reason that we want to get rid of all this poop, and we have acres of poop to get rid of, and I'm going to say poop 9,000 times probably today, but is that when calves are born, they're born on the ground, and wherever they land, and one of the problems is that their umbilical cords are basically an open vessel that goes directly into their bloodstream. So anything that they land in could be deadly, mainly just for the reason that any poop or anything, any bacteria, anything in the ground can just be swept right up that umbilical cord. It's one of the main reasons that we run out right after they're born and actually dip that cord in iodine. But sometimes you can't do that right away. So one of our ways to combat that is actually to go out here and clean up the field as much as we can and remove, or at least get a lot of this poop out of the way so that when moms do have their calves, it's a lot safer environment for them to do so. This thing, when fully extended, is 36 feet wide, but one thing that always gives me massive anxiety is taking this through a gate. Our gates are about 16 feet wide. When this thing is folded, it's about 16 feet wide. So getting it through a gate is sometimes a little tricky, and I've been known to hit gates and posts before. How are we going to get rid of this multiple tons of poop that's out here in these fields? This is basically what, 5 months of gathering poop, and it's been building on snow, and finally it's melted enough to where we can get something done about this. And that's where this thing is actually going to come in handy. This is called a harrow, Harrow, harrow. And basically what we're going to use it to do is bust up the poop. And if we can break it into as many pieces as possible, then when we do get some moisture, which is just within the next couple days, which is actually really good timing, that poop will then break down and enter into the soil, become fertilizer, and help grass grow in the future. But more importantly, when that poop and the bacteria and stuff gets into the soil, it's not affecting the calves that are going to be born out here in just a few weeks. So this is very much a preparation for calving type thing, but also something that needs to be done just to make the place kind of look nice too. I got an email not too long ago where somebody said, "You've got to stop calling it poop." I don't know why. It is what it is. Manure, poop, caca, dookie, cow pies, cow patty, cow biscuits. I guess horse apples are for horses, but we have cow apples? I don't know. Maybe we can. Okay, there we go. Our first major obstacle is complete. We've got it in the field here, in the triangle pasture is what we like to call it. This is where the cows tend to hang out quite a bit during the winter time. So we've got the harrow in the triangle pasture. We've got it opened up to its full width, and now all we have to do is just run around in here and knock all this stuff down. There are a few wet spots that I'm going to kind of avoid for right now, but we're looking pretty good. So these multitude of teeth that you see on the back of this thing are going to be what knocks down the poop, breaks it up into thousands of little pieces, and then hopefully it can be absorbed in the soil. The other nice thing about it is it actually does tend to pick up like net wrap or any other trash, and living close to the highway, we do get quite a bit of that. Net wrap's kind of my fault, but it'll help pick it up as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop it down and get moving. That's up. We're going to go down. So another interesting thing about the harrow is that there's really no down pressure involved. It is basically just sitting on the soil. So it's not really digging into the soil unless you hit like really wet spots. It's not going to dig in, but it will just run right over the top of the grass. The other nice thing about this thing is that it does do something we call scarification. It just scars the top of the soil just a little bit, and that allows, if there's any crust or anything left over from wintertime, then the moisture is going to be able to get into the soil a little bit easier too in this spring. Litter from the highway. Not even my brand. Don't throw your crap out of your cars. It ends up in some farmer's field. This was actually the very first job that I had on the ranch. My father-in-law Gilbert, when we first came here, I think he was just kind of looking for stuff for me to do, and he put me on harrowing a field. So I'm out there harrowing this field, and I'm riding right along the fence line, and a wheel fell off of the harrow. I didn't notice it right away because I wasn't looking at the harrow the whole time. Harrow went right through a fence, but once that wheel fell off, it kind of went out of control. So not only did that first day I learned how to harrow, I actually probably learned how to fix fence that first day too. Taking care of a job like this is it's kind of mundane. I mean, obviously you're just driving around in circles, but one of the big things is that you're constantly dealing with a struggle when you're working on the ranch, and you're constantly, every calf that you lose, you wonder if there's something that you could have done. If a calf dies or a cow dies or anything happens, there's always that, you know, was there something that I could have done that could have prevented that? And while this is probably one calf out of 100 that may be affected by the bacteria on the ground, this is something that we feel is worth coming out and doing and making sure that it looks nice. And not only does it look nice, but it's actually, you know, safer for the animals as well. So not a bad thing to do. And it's you know, like I said, it's one of the things that I did the first time that I was here, and Gilbert wanted to make sure that this was something that was done every year, whether for him it was to make the place look nice or for the purpose of saving calves. Either way, it's definitely something that does its job and gets that job done well. No matter what you do, how much harrowing you do, how much preparing you do, how much colostrum you have on hand, how many medications, you're gonna lose calves. And I think that was something that took me years to realize, coming from a corporate job where, you know, if something was out of your control, you better figure out how to fix it. I mean, there really wasn't that much working in an office, working at a radio station, whatever it was, that was out of my control. This kind of stuff, like ranching and dealing with animals and their lives, unfortunately, that's one thing that I did have to learn as I kept on moving, you know, forward, and we decided to stay on the ranch and decided to keep on doing this, was the fact that there are some things that are completely out of your control. And it doesn't matter how much work you put in to making sure that they don't happen. One time out of 10, it's going to happen. So that's something that you really do have to prepare your body and soul for, is that you do have bad days, and really it's just like anything else. It's how you deal with those bad days, and you know, and how you move on. So that's one of the biggest things that I learned coming here to the ranch. I'm going to finish up this field. I'm going to buzz out. I'm going to do a couple other fields. You may be wondering where the cows are at while we're doing this. Well, they're over there in the next field that I got to get up and take care of. So get that cleaned up. We got a barn to clean out still, a calving barn, a whole lot more. So stick around as we say goodbye to a member of our family who we actually tragically lost during the filming of this episode. We'll see you next time right here on Our Wyoming Life. Camera down. Camera down. Well, I think that one's done for. Well, it was one of our first cameras. Nobody tell Erin, okay?